Alright guys, welcome. So today I'm going to be sharing one of the biggest challenges which I know a lot of people are facing at this time of the year. So if you have been running a product in Q4, whether it was a branded product or not, then most likely it was at its peak, and it's very normal for it to dip at Q1. And for that reason, a lot of people have different approaches to this problem, such as either dumping the product straight up or trying to expand their store or recycle their pages, so introduce a new product and so on. What are the best ways to handle this? Well, the first way you need to identify, is your product still valid or viable for scaling? Can you still run this product? So is the product good? And this is very important for you to question yourself for, because the moment you understand whether it's worth running this for another year or another few months, whatever time frame you would like to run the product for, that's how you decide whether you should keep it. So how do you know this? One, you need to check your competitors. Are they quitting or are they still running it? That's one. So check. I'm gonna have 3 points here. So number one, check. I might have to just type low key. Check competition. Okay. So once you check competitors, what you're trying to look for is their offers. Okay, that's one. And then two, are they still posting every day? Are they doubling down or not? And so on. So that's one. Next point is check the performance, so the virality, and even the comments. Once you check these two, it's also going to provide you with data whether this is something people are still looking for in terms of whether they're a gift or they are something they need, and so on. So is the wow factor to it still valid or not? Okay, because the harsh truth is the product, although everyone puts focus on the product, the harsh truth is it doesn't really matter what product it is when it comes to marketing. So you could actually go viral with any sort of object, with any sort of product. You just need to follow the concepts. So oftentimes what you see here when we're talking about virality is that if people are not going viral with a certain product, 99% of the time is because of the concepts. So whether you're trying to follow proven concepts which are currently going viral, okay? If they're not following these currently going viral concepts, then the chances for them to go viral is way less. So at that point, it's either like based off luck, or the product just heavy lifting the marketing, or just, I don't know, it's like a ticket to failure. So you need to actually check, what are your competitors doing? Are they following new trends, for example, new proven concepts of marketing? Or, by the way, you could introduce back an old proven concept. So there's a lot of good examples which we've seen in the past. For example, we've seen the aura, trend back in the days. We've seen the idea versus product. We've seen a lot of different things, like the 0%, 30%, 100%, and so on. These are like some basic examples. I'm not saying they're good, but they're definitely easier to go viral with than some of the, less known ways of marketing. But obviously these are only gonna work for specific products. So you need to see what works for your product and then check what was working in the past. Perhaps nobody has thought about bringing it back, but you may be the first person who brings it back and then gives it like a twist of, I don't know, like a new trend plus the old trend. So you create a new trend, or just better content than what was produced back in the days. And that way you could literally revive a product which has stopped getting views. So what I'm trying to say here is a product doesn't always have to do with the views. It's actually how you market it. Like regardless of how good the product is, it won't just go viral on its own. You need to actually do some sort of heavy lifting to it, okay? Thirdly, Now, obviously, here the account also matters, which we're going to talk about later. So, check competitors, virality, comments, and concepts. Thirdly, before I would dump the product, honestly, it's more about vision. So, you need to just ask yourself, is this a product worth pouring more energy into? The ROI. Okay, so think about the vision and the ROI. Okay, is there, like, let's say you made, I don't know, 20, 30K plus. This is obviously like an advanced topic, so I'm expecting you guys to have made some sort of new personal best record last Q4, and now you're asking yourself, okay, do I see a vision in this product? Is it even worth running this for longer? If the question is yes, so how can you say yes? There's a few questions. So, is the product flexible enough for me to just change up the marketing angle every now and then? Okay, so I've given a lot of good examples in the past, such as the glasses, which has a camera, or the projectors, which has a camera. Okay, projectors don't have a camera. My bad on that one. But these are some of the best products right now because you could just switch up the marketing angle at any moment. And why are these good? Because you could follow the trend. Okay, so I'm not gonna get too much into that. It's more about vision and ROI. But think about your product. Like, can I run this and always go viral with it? Is it something people actually need? Does it have high value to the customer? Is it something I could actually brand? So these are some questions you need to ask yourself. I know most people won't even have to deal with this because if you're running a pump and dump, you don't really have to look at the long-term vision of the product. But if you've been following what I've been talking about for the past however long I've started this channel, then you would know that the end goal is to create something consistent and ever scaling, okay? And the end goal is to have a hybrid approach, so organic plus paid ads. So ask yourself, can I run this? Can I even brand it further? Can I scale it? If the answer is no, so there's some sort of obstacles which may come to it, then just either expand the store, so find new products, or just dump it and then find something in the same niche and then recycle your Instagram page, your other big pages, okay? So this is really important because planning is what's gonna set you up for the next year, literally. We're still early into the year, so it's really important to visualize what to do. So I know this is a bit of a advanced topic, but this is really important. You need to actually like look long term into the product and hopefully have some data based off Q4. So if you have data to back up why are people buying your product, so whether it's for gifting, so let's say I know some people who perform way better during December versus November and the other way around. So my sort of analysis would say that if people bought more in December, that means people really wanted to give that to their loved ones. But then if people bought it during November, then they just wanted a quick or big discount. So you need to understand, why did people buy your product? Were they actually getting it for Christmas, or was it just for the offer? Okay. And what that is going to do is going to unlock for you new ways of marketing. So you're going to know what to target. Also, you need to check the demographics. So from where did people buy? What was the gender of the customers? Because I've noticed personally, most of my customers were women. So that honestly unlocked a new perspective of how I should market the product, which I would have never guessed otherwise. So always look at the data of what you have performed in the past. Okay, so I'm actually going to add the fourth one here. Analyze data. And this is probably one of the most important things because it will, like, you're always better off taking actions or decisions based off some sort of statistics which backs up your decisions. So data analysis. This is really important. And feedback. Okay. So once you have these 4 pillars in check, that's where you could decide whether the product is good or not. And hopefully, okay, for this scenario, we're gonna say that it's like 70% green pass, so you can actually keep this up. So in that case, what you should probably do, if you actually, like, let's say you are just bored of the product, you wanna actually expand, test new things, test new products, which I know a lot of people like to do at this time of the year. So what you could do is actually expand. Okay. A lot of people like to focus on one product page, but the more advanced pages, they always expand. And expansion is probably one of the best things you can do. This on its own is a whole topic, so I'm actually going to break it down for you guys, because expansion can be done in two ways. You could expand in terms of marketing or the product itself. Okay, let's start off with the product. Since we mentioned the product, you may have been running it for a while, you're bored of it, you want to try something new. So you need to understand what are the top performing top products in your niche. Okay, so that way hopefully you have some sort of branding which is very generic, not very specific, so that you could just expand the store without it looking off. Because I know a lot of people who call their pages like something very specific which limits them to what they sell. Instead, if you have some sort of branding which allows you to expand, then do it. Otherwise, just buy a new domain. But it's better to have a name for yourself. So look at the top products in the niche, see what they're like, who has performed the best in Q4 and is still running to this day. You could even check you can test order or whatever. Personally, I've seen people in my area, I know who can print or who printed and who didn't, just based off their marketing and how often they posted, and just based off how they're performing right now. So did they scale? Did they get new products, new customizations? Did they go like super viral and so on? So there's a lot of indicators which can tell you whether they performed, just like I told you here. So at that moment, hopefully you're gonna have like at least one or two winners in your niche, which you are 100% sure they have converted. At that point, you could add them to your store, add them as literally a digital product. What do I mean by this? So you don't even have the product in your hand, you just put them right now on your store, and this could increase your CVR or your AOV until you receive them. So the moment you receive them is gonna unlock a clearly different marketing angle, because now you don't need to just rely on one thing that you're marketing. You could actually diversify and look like a real brand, which is just posting like 5 to 10 times a day, maybe 2 times per product, and they need to make sense, obviously. So we can pick like the anime niche. So if you're running the anime niche, then you could just pick like 3 different products. So maybe the watch with the bracelet with a necklace. So now you're making a completely accessories store. Or the cameras, there's like a camera store. So there's this with a camera here, which is a goggle, and then number 2 is just normal glasses with cameras, and then the third one is the camera that you wear in your chest. So as you can see, this is something which I would recommend. So I see a lot of people running this one separately, and then this one separately. Why not just combine the whole thing on one store and literally just change up the product every single post? That way your viewers, your followers won't get bored from your content. Although it's the same concept, you could be following the same marketing angle, but then you're changing up the product, the visuals, so that way it's more interesting and they have more options to buy from. You could literally increase your CVR and AOV. They could literally buy one of each. So this is probably a better example than this. You don't want to be putting like random, completely different. Perhaps the shirt might work with like something like this, but personally, I would rather keep it very specific, okay? So accessories together and other things are separate, okay? So that's for the products. Obviously, this is not going to be very accessible for every brand, but if you are watching and this is an option for you and you are feeling like you want to either, dump your product, but then you're not sure whether it can print again, then you're better off just expanding. And by the way, you could literally expand by doubling down on the new products. So let's say you were running these 2 in the past. Now you double down on this, but then you still have the others on your store. So just based off the fact that this is currently going the most viral, then you could just market this like all the time. So imagine this is your Instagram grid. This is all posts regarding this product. And when they open your store, they can see all of the 3 products. So that's what I mean by expanding. Okay. All right. Now moving to the marketing. So how can you expand in terms of marketing? So let's say you're running the current product post Q4 and suddenly you're not getting any more views. So back in the days, you're doing different marketing for the holiday season. You're going super viral. Nowadays, you're getting a fraction of what you used to get. Then you probably need to either do one of the two, okay, or both. So the first one is find new concepts to market your product. Again, these concepts can be either old, which you are reintroducing but perhaps better. That's one. And then two, new products which will provide you with a new way of marketing or just more interesting content. So instead of it being very repetitive over and over again, you are switching it up from one product to another. So that's essentially what I mean by expansion. And honestly, this is probably one of the better ways to move forward. So if something is still making you sales from Q4, then you're better off just expanding and getting new products, which you can just make seamless. Okay, you just need to make it look smooth, that you're blending new products to the old catalog, and just making it look like it's not out of the ordinary. Now, if your product is not good to continue with, then the best thing to do is dump your IG. Well, dump the product from your IG, but the IG you keep it. Okay, so the IG is your biggest asset, and then YT is the second best asset. I would consider these together. Okay, so IG and Facebook are number one. YouTube is next, and probably the rest is going to be like Snap and TikTok. But those two don't matter as much as these three. So why does this really matter? For IG and Facebook, it's really easy to introduce a new product because they provide you with social proof. So if you have a big page on Instagram and Facebook, trust me, even if you're getting 5k views, people would rather buy from a 100k follower page on IG or even Facebook that is getting 5k views, which is very rare, by the way. If you have that many followers, probably your average is like 20k views per post. But worst case scenario, you're getting like 5k on a new concept or new product. You're still gonna probably get a higher chance of converting views to sales based off the fact that your page is big. So IG is the best social proof or social trust page. And then Facebook is probably the algorithm. And this is, by the way, the biggest difference. So IG just provides you with a very good social proof page. So people can just see your following, see your highlights, your posts. And based on that, they can trust you before they even go to the store. So it's, in other words, the first landing page. While as Facebook, on the other hand, is just superior in terms of algorithm. So on average, I get way better leads on Facebook than on IG. Although they're both meta, but for some reason, Facebook just provides you with more consistent, high quality leads. And then lastly, YouTube is the number 3 platform in terms of assets for long term, and which you should rebrand for sure, is because there's a lot of incentives for running it long enough. So there's the ad revenue, there's the plaque at 100k plus, there's even for 1 mil. A lot of people have it by posting content for the products. So definitely worth continuing on these 3 platforms. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, I know this is a very big problem which a lot of people are facing right now. So if you are, experiencing something like this, don't worry, it's very normal. But the best thing to do is to just look for new concepts of marketing. And that's why, by the way, I introduced the idea of expanding new products, because the product, what it does is it's going to unlock for you new concepts of marketing, which is going to help you to go viral. So I hope I made that very clear earlier in this video, but if not, you got that gem at the end. But yeah, apart from that, feel free to subscribe, and my Discord community is in the bio, completely free. You can ask any question, and if you'd like to join the affiliate program, it's also from there. Yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.